Okay, so welcome to Let's Calculate Something. Today we're going to go over Paul McWhorter's lesson on working with, this is lesson 11, working with LEDs and potentiometers and doing some characterization of that LED. So I'm going to go through the circuit first, and then what I'll do is go through the code. Okay, so what we have is we have our Pico. It's powered up. We have the 3 volts coming out of here, and this is our voltage bus. Out of there, we're going to our potentiometer here with the orange wire. And then from the potentiometer, we ground it over here to our grounding, and that ground is connected to this pin here, pin 3, on this pin right there on the Pico. So that's our grounding bus, that's our power bus. And then we take the power over to the potentiometer, and that goes back into, the digital input on the the analog input on the Pico. Then we do our code, which I'll show you in a second. Out of that code comes our analog output to the LED. The LED is connected here on this line, and then out of it we go to the resistor back to ground. And then now what we can do is we can take and we can look at the code. Okay, so on the code we have, we do the regular inputs. This is just like what he did in the tutorial. Our analog pin is 28, so that is the analog read in pin. And so we have a high, and this is the work that I do to do the characterization. We have a high read of 65,535, a low read of 304. Our high voltage is 3.3. Our low voltage is 0. And then what I did is I added this little feature to where you could either enter a voltage or you could use the potentiometer. So we have an input choice here. And then we use an if statement depending on what we pick. If it's not 1 or not 2, we put an error, and I'll demonstrate that. But if it is mode equals 2, and mode 2 is saying that we want to use the potentiometer, this is where we ask for how many steps or what the range on the potentiometer is, so that we linearize that. Remember what we learned in the lesson. And so then while mode is 1 now, so if mode is 2, we have to go get the steps, right? But then if mode is 1, which is the one where we're going to input the voltage, we ask for what that would be. We divide it by 3.3 because we linearize that one, and then we bring it through. And then you'll see the LED change colors change brightness based on that. But if mode is 2, then what we do is we use the potentiometer. So now we're getting that pin 16, that read. We then take that and we figure out how many steps we need. So this is where we use that exponential linearization function by the number of steps that we took in up here. And then we calculate our exponent value, and then the brightness is C, which is our float value based on the linearization, to the exponential value, which was calculated up here. We put that out on 16, so our out is on 16, our in is on 28. And then we can print them out and see it, and then we sleep for a quarter second. Okay, so let me stop this and I'll start it. Okay, and the first thing we see is do we want 1 to enter the voltage or 2 to use the potentiometer? Let's put 3, and we'll see that it's an invalid entry, so it just jumps out. So now what we have to do is start over. And so we're going to say 1. Okay. And what voltage would we like to put in? So if I put 3.3, it's going to be very bright. Okay, you can see that. If I go about 1.65, that'll be about half the brightness. Okay. If I go 1, it'll get dimmer. 0.5, and then 0.1. Okay, and you can see, how that works. Now, if we enter out and stop this, okay, and we start over, and now I want to use the potentiometer, then please enter the number of steps you want to dim the LED. So let's do 50 steps. Okay, and so it's on its current value. I'll take this screwdriver, which is much nicer to turn with, and I'll be able to dial in, bring it up, slowly, and dial in some brightness here. There we go. Starting to see it turn bright. That's about halfway, and we're getting brighter and brighter, and there it is. So we built a circuit that will allow us to do two kinds of inputs, and that's the lesson. So thank you. So that's this lesson 11, and we'll see you on the next one.